Let's talk about something I don't know anything about on a podcast where I'm
This
supposed to be offering knowledge.
solid podcasting etiquette is get two dudes together and have them talk about things they don't know about. So I think
Well,
we're in good shape.
good morning, Jim.
Andrew, good morning. I didn't see you there.
We've found ourselves in a bit of a tight spot.
Yeah,
We missed a couple of sessions. We have to get a session in, but you're suffering with a terrible cold
I am, and my eyes just aren't working.
and your eyes aren't working right. In solidarity, I've worn my old reading glasses for you.
And I appreciate it. Though I don't want you to feel obliged to keep them on the entire episode.
Yeah.
If at some point you say that's enough, you can just rip them off. That's okay.
Frankly, my eyes are hurting a little bit, but I feel like if anything, maybe people saw this.
It'll make an
and-
interesting thumbnail, huh?
Yeah, it'll make an interesting thumbnail for the YouTube video
Yeah.
at very minimum. So
I
But,
feel like wearing the glasses has affected your whole demeanor, though. You seem to be striking more of an intellectual pose than
Yeah.
usual as well.
yeah, well, naturally, what you decided we should talk about today is something that I should have knowledge on, but don't. So it's a very ironic. It's a very
Show up looking all
ironic
knowledgeable.
sort of thing here. So we're talking about the CLASP maybe a little bit.
Yeah, let's talk about the class.
Let's talk about something I don't know anything about on a podcast where I'm
this-
supposed to be offering knowledge.
Solid podcasting etiquette is get two dudes together and have them talk about things they don't know about. So I
Well,
think we're in good shape.
I know a little bit about it. I know a little bit about it, but I
Yeah.
haven't read the whole white paper.
Yeah. Yeah, no sweat. I have under these sunglasses, my good eye is currently trained on an article about the thing, so I'll keep
Okay.
us up to date. Don't worry.
Let's do it.
So what it was is that recently I saw an ad from a practice chanter manufacturer. Should we say names or should we try to avoid brand names?
Well, it depends
is
if
it a
we're going
big
to
deal?
talk bad about it or not. I don't think we're going to talk bad about.
No,
this
I
company,
honestly
so.
I would love one of these chanters myself. I think they're
Yeah,
cool. I have
me
a buddy
too.
who played one and I had one pass through my hands once. So it's the ES Sessions.
Yeah.
ES Session.
Should
I'll
you
put-
bring one to band practice though, or is that just showing off and is it actually kind of really annoying?
I mean,
When, you know what I'm talking about? We've all
Yeah.
been to the band practices where that guy shows up with the session.
To be fair though, the practice chanter you've got there, what is
Yeah.
that one?
And
that
then is this any
Maverick?
better? Is
Yeah,
this
who
any
makes
better,
that
or-
one? I was thinking Maverick, but
Maverick is this is made by Geordie. And I feel like Geordie being in Verarian District, is it lame to show up with one of these? Because this is what I use at band. But maybe I am one of the only ones. No, I think obviously Geordie plays one.
I wonder
But
if there's a
anyway,
thing locally.
Sidetracked already.
Over here in
Sidetracked
Utah, we do have the Morrill bagpipes, Ross and Andrew Morrill, and they make beautiful sets of pipes from different kinds of wood. They're very cool to look at. And they
Yeah.
make practice chanters. And they run the Wasatch District Band. I wonder how many Wasatch District Band members have Morrill practice chanters.
Who knows? I guess my overarching stanch is that.
What is your stanch?
My stanch is that we shouldn't overthink the practice chanter thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been personally lured into drooling over fancy practice chanters. And I do think I have some friends who have purchased cool fancy practice chanters, and for them they've expressed this kind of idea that it's exciting and different. Like after 20 years of playing the same practice chanter, this is now colorful or made of a different material or it's a different length, and it makes it different and therefore novel, and it's like injecting a sense of fun into my practice now. And I'm like, oh, that seems
Yeah.
like a fine reason.
Yep, the F word is something that you definitely want a lot of.
Oh yes, fun. Sorry, it took me a really long time to figure out.
Yeah. So I think practice chanters are I feel like generally wanting or needing or craving a fancy practice chanter or something. I just feel like it's an excuse to avoid doing what you need to do and improving at the full bagpipes.
It feels like an extension of a general human impulse that I have in the rest
Yeah.
of my life, which is instead of exercising, I want to drool over fancy exercise
Yes.
equipment kind of
So
thing.
generally that sort of outlines my skepticism of practice chanterism. However, with all of that said, if it makes life fun to have a fancy practice chanter that perfectly tunes to things, and obviously when you look at Lincoln Hilton making awesome videos, the guy's having a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of fun.
Yeah.
He's having a ton of fun, and he's doing awesome music with his practice chanter. So there's obviously really awesome applications of practice chantering. That's a lot of fun.
And aside from fun, the ES session practice chanter in particular, where it has the removable end, so you can be in, I believe the idea is to be able to be in concert A and concert B flat if you would
Yeah.
like to be, right?
Yeah.
That combined with Lincoln Hilton's cool videos and the classic practice chanter song Pressed for Time from Gordon Duncan, those things combine in my head to make me wonder, is it me? Should I be taking the practice chanter more seriously as an instrument in its own right,
Yeah.
aside from the bagpipes? Not
Right.
just a tool for bagpipes, but maybe its own thing. Maybe
Yeah.
that's me being ignorant. Maybe I should be thinking of it that way.
Who was it? The whole world's a stage. Who said that? Was that
Oh,
Shakespeare?
I believe that was the bard himself. Yeah.
So anything can be a musical instrument, Jim.
I like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Like I could play my mason jar. Does that mean I should, quote, take it seriously as an instrument, Jim? I don't know. I don't know. So anyway, I don't know the answer for sure. Yeah. Well, and the same, by the way, same goes for the Blair electronic chanter. Is that a real
yeah.
instrument? And
Yeah,
I think the answer is, of course, like anything can be a real instrument. It all depends on what ideas you're working with and what you're thinking of. Wasn't there a thing SFU Pipe Band did called Me and My Practice Chanter? Wasn't that a thing too?
That does sound familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, like where you're taking the practice chanter and for some sort of creative, artistic reason, you're integrating it into a very serious piece of music that you put a lot of effort into and you do a lot of effort with.
I'm enjoying this. Yeah, this is fun. A lot of,
We have a lot of fun with it and you're being creative and you're doing cool, interesting things. Of course, it's an instrument. And so, well, and I suppose the interesting thing that caught your interest, Jim, is that they're introducing practice chanter contests in the CLASP, in some CLASP events, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I'm kind of distant from the CLASP myself, where like I've watched videos from past CLASP events, but it's always been like for sake of enjoying that performance. I've never really thought very hard about what this event is overall, like what's going on there. You know what I mean? And so to see that they would offer practice chanter events, at first I was like, whoa. Is this going to be like grade 1 pipers competing on practice chanters?
Yeah.
Looking into it further, it looks like that's not the case, but it did give me pause.
It would be great to have someone from the CLASP come chat with us about all the details. But no, my understanding is the CLASP is very similar to the amateur grades in North America in the sense that I think they start all the way from basic level and they work all the way up to the equivalent of grade 1-ish. Some people I know teach students that are in the CLASP, and of course the dojo has a lot of people who are involved in the CLASP competitions. And I guess where I'm going with this train of thought is indeterminate. But yeah, they have a variety of levels, which is pretty cool. And I think the practice chanter is sort of going to be a level way down at the beginning, sort of helping people bridge the gap from not doing anything to competing on the full pipes. That would be, because we do have that in North America as well. We have the practice chanter, which is not like a big deal, but it's kind of a cool way to dip your toe in the pool of competitive piping possibility.
Nice alliteration there.
Yeah, I felt it coming on.
Yeah.
And I went for it.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. I missed out on that myself as a young competitor, just local competitions. Either I didn't know about them or there weren't some practice chanter options, which there have been at those same events since. So, did you do it, Andrew? Did you compete on the practice chanter?
Oh, I did it.
Yeah.
I was great at it. No, I did it.
And it.
Well, what's interesting is you, the listening audience, could be the judge of whether I was good at it or not. Because somewhere on the dojo website, there's a video of me doing it.
Guess what? I have it. I have it pulled up right here. So I'll absolutely insert it into this episode.
Oh, no.
Everybody, listening and watching audience, here it comes. Here's Andrew Douglas.
Don't do it.
Little Andrew
don't
Douglas.
do it. So I would have been 8 years old when I did that. The video was at the Syracuse Scottish Games, which is in August. So I think I was just about to turn 9. Well, I could be wrong about that.
Andrew, if you told me you were 7, I'd be impressed. But knowing that you were on the cusp of 9 years old, not so impressed anymore.
Yeah, I remember odds and ends of that day. But I think I was, so I would have been maybe almost 9 when that video was taken.
It's kind of funny because I remember when I was 9 years old and the town that I grew up in does a Scottish festival every year. And that was the year that my dad came home from the Scottish festival with a practice chanter.
Yeah.
And it couldn't get air all the way through it. It was a pretty rough cut.
Pretty tough.
Yeah. But that's in a way kind of where piping started for me, was when I was about that age.
This is my first practice chanter right here.
Looks way more functional than that one that my dad brought home.
Yeah, the reed is not good in it, but it's still a great chanter. It's a nail chanter, and it's sort of short and stubby. But also, the reason I don't still use it a lot is because it's quite loud.
Interesting.
So you go to band practice with that thing, everybody knows what you're doing.
Which you don't want.
You do and you don't, Jim. You do
Yeah.
and you don't. You kind of just want your practice chanter to be the same as everyone else's. But okay, so practice chanter competitions in the CLASP. What do you need to know about that?
Oh, I guess part of me got curious then, thinking about it, like, well, can I try this? Could I do it? And
Yeah.
it seems
No,
like it
you'd
could be
play
fun.
the full pipes, Jim. Come on.
Yeah. Well, that could
Let's
also
go.
be fun. But so the events, I do see here that the events they're going to have on offer are the Pembroke Ground specifically, 2-4 March, Strathspey Reel, and Jig. So I think that what they're going for is like learners and bridging the gap, but maybe specifically learners who are adults. I can imagine it would be challenging if I was learning as an adult and I thought, well, I want to try the competition, and I go to my local Scottish Games, Highland Games kind of event, and I enter to play in the practice chanter competition, and all of my competition is 9-year-old children. It might feel a little weird.
Yeah, it's either going to be weird because you're going to get your butt kicked, or you're going to kick butt. It's
Yeah,
going to go
you
one
don't
way
be
or
like,
the other.
No child can beat me. You don't want that kind of thing going
Yeah,
on.
you don't want that. Yeah. So generally speaking, I feel like that, and I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I feel like that is the general stigma surrounding the practice chanter competitions, is that it'll just be something you do pretty briefly. Like in the EOSPBA, you need to play 4 parts of march, maybe 2. I can't remember exactly, but you're playing real marches on the practice chanter. So if you're able to do that, that means you're going to be on the pipes really soon if you're not already. So the practice chanter class is a very brief thing, and you don't need to ask to be upgraded from it or anything like that. You don't need to win a bunch before you can move up to the entry-level Great Highland Bagpipe class.
Well, if anybody is listening to this and thinking, well, I fit the bill, I want to give that a try. It didn't take me more than a quick Google. They've got instructions to how to upload your video of you playing your tunes and all that kind of stuff.
We interrupt this program for an important news announcement.
Hey, Jim, I want to tell you, we're doing a thing.
Tell me about that thing. What thing's being done?
The thing that's being done, it's an all-new membership type at Dojo University. It's called, wait for it, keep waiting. It's called the Leadership Club, Jim.
I want to be in that club.
You can be in that club. The Leadership Club is basically, and I hate these 2 words, Jim. I hate them, but I'm going to say them. It's a safe space for bagpipe band leaders, like pipe majors, pipe sergeants, leading drummers, leading midsection people, possibly even drum majors, although don't get too excited yet, drum majors.
Doomed to be alone forever. The
No,
drum
not
major.
forever, but maybe for a few more months or something like that. We're working on the drum major thing. But anyway, it's a place for pipe band leaders to get together and learn and improve their craft and develop camaraderie with others and to be in touch with some of the world's very best pipe band leaders and stuff like that. It's a special membership inside of Dojo U just for them. But wait, there's more.
Tell me more about this.
Do you want to record your pipe band and send it in for verbal critique that you can do every single month as part of the leadership membership? Doesn't that sound cool?
That does seem useful, yeah.
Or special classes on just like logistics and how to run a band better.
And really, this sounds really like a great idea.
What about if you want to write harmonies for your band, but you're not quite sure what's not working about them and you want to get feedback on them?
Are you kidding me? Yes.
What about picking tunes for your band?
Heck yes.
What about figuring out ways to motivate people to actually show up to practice more?
Don't try to tell me you've cracked that code.
Yeah. Anyway, Jim, what would you be willing to pay for such a thing?
Billions.
Here's the thing. Leadership Club pricing. Let's get down to brass tacks. It's free, Jim.
No, wait. No, come on.
Yeah, it's a free. Now, it's not free, but it's free for anyone who has a Dojo U membership of some kind.
I was expecting there to be a premium price attached to this.
If you're a basic member, a premium member, or a drumming member at the Dojo, we have 3 membership types. But as long as you have an active membership, you can be admitted to Leadership Club absolutely free. The club is just for you, just for leaders, and you can get in free as long as you're a member in some other way.
That's cool.
All you have to do. Step 1, sign up for a Dojo U membership. By the way, some of our membership have free trials. Just throwing it out there. But step 1, sign up for an individual membership. And then step 2, if you're a leader, is you'll just scroll down when you log in and you'll see a big thing that says, hey, join the leadership club. All you have to do is fill out that form and you're in. It's an exciting thing that we're doing. If you're a pipe band leader, we want to see you in there. We want to help you. We want to do the thing. It's going to be so great. Sign up for the leadership club. Ready, set, go. The only pontification I had sort of in my mind about this overarching topic here is that, by the way, hit us in the comments if I'm way off base here. But I almost feel like North America and Scotland are almost inverted in the way that they work with competitive piping.
Oh, tell me about that. That sounds interesting.
Would you like me to tell you more about that, Jim?
Yeah.
Again, this is just a rough thought, but I sometimes have thought this and chatted with people about it. But in Scotland, especially at the moment, the culture is very much you learn bagpipes when you're a kid. And if you're not a great bagpiper by the time you're 18, traditionally not much more would happen from a competitive piping standpoint. Maybe a piper would continue to play for enjoyment, but the basic sort of culture and thinking in Scotland is it's something you do as a kid, and if you become great, you can enter into the graded competitions, the over 18, which is basically a big open field. And then like, great, good for you. You're a great piper now and you're in the ranks. But if you don't really make it, then it's not really something you're going to do. Maybe you'll play in a pipe band or something. I don't know. That's sort of the vibe in Scotland, right? Traditionally.
That sounds like the school concert band or school marching band vibe here in the U.S., where it's like you might get pretty good on the trumpet or clarinet or something, but if you're not great, then you stop after high school.
Yes, exactly. By the way, it sounds a lot like sports as well. It's like I played basketball all the way through high school, but like, I mean, look at me. I'm not going pro, so that's basically it. And I play occasional pickup games on Sundays with old farts, but that's it. And so I don't know, it's kind of like that in Scotland. And just hold that thought. I'm coming back to that.
Yeah.
And then in North America, though, it's almost completely inverted in the sense that a lot of people don't even consider bagpipes as an option until their retirement age. It's something they decide they want to take an interest in now that they have time and a little bit of money in their lives, and it's not something they took part in as a kid at all. As a matter of fact, being involved in bagpipes as a kid in North America is kind of strange. There's probably exceptions to that. Like obviously in Toronto and Vancouver, those places come to mind as areas where it wouldn't be weird to play bagpipes if you're a kid and so on. But it's actually far more rare. So it's far more rare for kids to play bagpipes here than it would be in Scotland. And so the whole thing sort of flips. So we have a big infrastructure in North America set up around helping older learners develop as pipers, whereas in Scotland, they don't until now. And I think this sort of vibe that I'm talking about was the inspiration behind the CLASP. I think it's different than basketball. I think it's really kind of sad. And I think they do as well. It's like we want the bagpipe to be, I'm speaking from the perspective of someone in Scotland, right? We want the bagpipe to be part of our culture. We want it to be really ingrained, not just for kids. We don't want kids to just stop playing after they turn 18. So let's set up something that allows people to keep the interest going over time. I don't know if anyone has successfully gone from CLASP into the CPA graded competitions. I don't know if that's happened, but maybe someday it will, where maybe players can actually become good enough to play at the absolute highest levels from the CLASP. But I don't think it needs to be that. I think just having that and letting people enjoy piping and competitive piping as an adult is extremely valuable. By the way, we totally take that for granted in North America, right? To the point where we split grade 4. I don't know if you guys do that in the WSPBA as well, but I think you do. We split grade 4 into junior and senior, meaning like there's a whole grade just for people who are getting started as adults.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting. And I think that's what the CLASP was all about. And it's pretty neat. And by the way, anyone listening in North America, I think you're able to participate. And it would be awesome because I think they do a mixture of online and in-person events.
That's what I'm seeing here. Yeah. That there's a lot of online options here for practice chanter and for pipes.
Yeah. It would be a really cool thing to get involved in. And then do they do sort of like the finals and stuff over in Scotland in August? I feel like maybe that's what happens.
That's probably some of the videos that I've seen.
What's really cool, some of our dojo members did really well this past summer, that's the only sort of way that I know about it. But I'm going to look at this episode, me talking about something I know nothing about in front of thousands of people. It's inspired me to learn more about this.
It's this inversion experience where it's like, now that I've talked about it in public, I think I'll go do some research.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. That's why they pay us the big bucks, Jim.
Yeah. Well, just one thing, in case it's at all interesting to add to that thought, that line of thinking there, Andrew, I have noticed now I'm old. Like I've got gray in my beard and stuff, right?
too.
And so when I show up to play my pipes for an event, nobody bats an eye. But up until my mid-20s, it was really common for people to be surprised that a person so young played the
Yeah.
bagpipes.
Yes.
It's not just within piping that there's that expectation that people come to it as adults. It seems that the public has a hard time imagining anybody other than an old white man playing the bagpipes.
Yes.
It's unfortunate that some of my friends who are the best pipers I know, who are women, have had people want a different piper because that's not the picture they had in their mind, you know?
Yes,
It's-
for sure. There is a sort of stereotype of what a piper looks like when it comes to the general public. And someone from the general public might want a bagpiper for their wedding. And then if the bagpiper doesn't fit the image they had in their mind,
Yeah.
they might sort of say, this isn't actually going to work. Because it's, for them, it's not about the music. It's about the image and the
the
symbolism of it.
aesthetic, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know where I fall on. I certainly fall from our side of things. I certainly fall into the camp of, man, that's a real shame.
Mhm.
But you know, if it's your wedding and you're going to spend big money on that, I suppose it should look and feel like what you want.
I can dig that. I'm mostly just thinking like if in Scotland a lot of kids play bagpipes, it wouldn't be surprising to have a teenager or 20-something who knows how to play
Correct.
bagpipes. Whereas here,
That's
it's like,
right.
you're not allowed to do that. You have to be old, you know? So it's
Yep.
like a real thorough flipping of the expectation.
Yeah, and by the way, that won't last that long,
Yeah.
or maybe it will. Is social media and just like extreme availability of information making that situation better or worse? I wonder.
Oh, yeah, I wonder.
I think there's a lot of people out there on social media playing the stereotypes to their advantage. And so maybe that's making it worse, but no, also not necessarily, but also I don't know. Anything else we need to know about the CLASP and the practice chanter as a unique musical instrument, Jim?
No, I guess just maybe I'll encourage people to drop comments below or write in if they have thoughts, and we can come back to it if there's more thinking that ought to be done about this, or if you have opinions about whether the practice chanter is an instrument unto itself or stuff like that. Let us know.
It's an interesting debate. I like having options.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm just feeling like I want to do I just want to drag this out needlessly for one more minute. But like, yeah, I like having options.
Mhm.
I like being able to pick up the Blair chanter and do cool, interesting things with it. I like playing my practice chanter. And some of the music that I've made has just been with my practice chanter because I was lazy, but it ended up sounding great. But I did a sketch. I did a little Dream Valley of Glendorel sketch on my DAW. I think I was using Reason at the time. But I had like an old Pakistani practice chanter,
Oh, really?
which sounded terrible, but I was using tape. I was able to get the scale to be like fairly true. And then I just did some horsing around and it ended up being a hugely popular track in the Bagpipe Underground. Yeah. And that was a practice chanter. Not because I didn't want to play pipes, but because I was too lazy and I was just horsing around and having the F word.
So unexpected thing to come out of this is everybody needs a little more of the F word. And
Everybody needs more F word.
if it's practice chanters that get you F word,
Yeah.
then
When you get home from work, whip out your practice chanter and have some F word if that's what does it for you.
is me wearing sunglasses turning us into the Chanter Rant podcast, or we just have to descend into raunchy jokes now?
Yeah, well, we've been considerably better and cooler than the Chanter Rant for quite some time now.
Come at us, bros.
Come at us, bros. Two guys. I think they might even be podcasting remotely now, are they? Because
Yeah, Josh moved.
they have made some new episodes, right? Lately. So I think that's where my knee-jerk reaction to just try and punch down on them is coming from. No, not at all. It would be actually fun to do a foursome.
Yeah. Speaking of rude jokes, if we're going to do a foursome with anybody, those are the guys. Those
Yeah,
are the ones.
although that might be risky because we're the clean.
Well, I was going to say, I'll tell you one thing. It'll take a lot longer to edit than a typical episode if you let those boys in. That's for sure.
It's like we're clean dads and they're like dirty single guys. Well, as they say, all press is good press. So after all that, the Chanter Rant's back for people who like unclean extremely inappropriate bagpipe comedy.
If we'd thought carefully about this, we could have tied that together really nicely. Since we're talking about practice chanters and the name of their show is Chanter Rant, there could have been some kind of segue or something there. But
I made it the whole episode with my reading glasses on. My eyes are kind of in a lot of pain right now.
I apologize for that. It's funny because of the pain my eyes are in. I actually didn't realize that because I've had my eyes closed or squinted the entire time.
Yeah. So for those wondering, at one time, a few years ago, I went to the eye doctor and he's like, you should probably get reading glasses. So I did. And then I went back a year later and he's like, your eyes are great. Everything's good. And I was like, well, I have reading glasses. He's like, you do? And I was like, yeah. Well, he knew I had them, but he's like, oh yeah, you probably don't need those anymore. And is it normal for your eyes to get better? Your eyes could just be tired on the day of your eye exam or something, apparently, or something like that.
I have worried about that before when I go in for a new prescription. It's like, I didn't sleep well last night. I don't need this prescription.
Hey everybody, Andrew Douglas here from the Piper's Dojo, and I just want to say thanks so much for listening to today's iteration of the podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard here today, it would be super helpful to us and to a lot of bagpipers out there trying to find us. If you could give us a top-notch review on whatever platform you're using to listen to this podcast, particularly Apple, iTunes, and Spotify and things like that, your review would be really, really helpful. So if you have a moment today, definitely go over there and help us out. Other than that, until we meet again on the podcast or somewhere else, thanks again for listening.